We're just 5 days away from the national championship game between Georgia and Alabama. Of course, we remember the last game they played in early December when Georgia lost by 17 points. But we're not going to talk about that game. This is a brand new football game. And if Georgia can do these four things, I think that they will be bringing a national championship to Athens for the first time since 1980. So let's jump right into it. Of course, it might sound a little too simple, too obvious, but feed Brock Bowers. He's having a historic season in Athens. 52 grabs, 846 yards, 12 touchdowns with another rushing touchdown. He went off against Alabama, 10 catches for 139 yards, one touchdown. They went to him early and often against Michigan. 5 catches, a lot of them, I think all of them were in the first half, 3 of them on the first drive alone for 55 yards total. And of course, one touchdown that got the game started with that first score. He is the best tight end in college football. He got robbed of the Mackey Award. The guy runs like a deer at 225. He's tremendous after the catch. He can hurt you in the screen game. He can hurt you down the field. He can run by defensive backs. He plows through linebackers. He's a guy who falls forward when he gets tackled. If he gets tackled, they have to get him the ball. He is the best player on the offense, and he's a guy that Alabama struggled with. So I think they're going to have a different matchup trying to, not let him make the game-changing type of plays that he can. But still, they're going to have to get him, the ball quickly, more screens, more quick slants. They're going to have to scheme him to get open because when he has the football, he's going to make a lot of plays. 6 touchdowns in his last 4 games. I think if he can get to 8 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown, Georgia's going to win the football game. It's going to open up things for the other receivers, the other tight ends, and the run game as well, because that's what he can do for you. If they have 2 and 3 tight end sets, I think Georgia is going to be very successful because they can throw out of those packages, and Brock Bowers is a guy that needs to be on the field at all times. And if he can have a big game, I definitely think that they could come out on the winning end of this. As far as their rushing goes, if they can get to 150 yards, that's the number I'm looking at. They only went for 109 in the loss to Alabama. And it's because they got down early and they abandoned the run. They had to throw the ball, and it led to interceptions and other turnovers. And before you know it, the game was kind of over going into the fourth quarter, and almost felt that way at the half. If they can consistently run the football, don't abandon it, run it for 4 quarters, and establish that run early, get to that 150 mark, I definitely think they have a really nice chance of winning. They only gave up 115 to Alabama. They're rushing the ball a little better too, but Georgia needs to establish the run, something they really haven't been able to do against Alabama in these last, 4 years, 2 years, 3 years, however many years it's been. But they've got the backs to do it. James Cook, Kenny McIntosh are the 2 guys that I think need the ball the most. I love Zamir. I love what he brings to the table. To get those tough yards, especially tough 3-4 yards, 3rd and 1, 3rd and goal type of situations. But Kenny McIntosh, James Cook, those guys have combined for just under 50 catches this year, just under 500 yards, 6 touchdowns. They make plays for you in a lot of different ways, different than what Zamir White can bring to you. So I think those guys need the touches the most. But again, if they can rush the ball for 150 yards, give me Georgia in the victory. Defensively, got to get 2 sacks. That's the number I'm trying to get. 0 sacks against Bryce Young in the SEC title game with 8 quarterback hurries. They got around him. They got sort of to him, but they didn't get him down. They did have 4 tackles for loss, which is nice. That's a nice little number there. But they're going to have to get to Bryce Young, put him on the ground. They need to do it at least twice. Hopefully, more than that if they really want to get in his head a little bit and make him nervous back there. But if you get to him 8 more times, certainly they're going to get to him and get him on the ground. But hurries turn into big plays with a guy who can run like he can. If you get into the backfield but don't get him, he's going to burst up the middle. And we've seen quarterbacks take off for big gains against this Georgia defense when they're playing in man coverage and they don't get to the quarterback. So getting to him is nice. Applying pressure is important, but you got to get to him. They didn't sack him a single time. And that's not the defense we've seen. They played with a chip on their shoulder against Michigan and really got after it, played very well. If they can continue that and find ways to get to him, I think they're going to have an excellent day and look like the defense that we've seen from them through the regular season. Channing Tindall, I think, is a guy to keep an eye on. He hasn't done much at all in the last 2 games. 1 tackle against Alabama, I think 1 tackle against Michigan. It's really been Quay Walker beside Nakobe Dean making a lot of those plays in linebacker. Is Channing Tindall going to be another spy? We've seen him attack the quarterback and make a lot of plays in the backfield and chase down quarterbacks. Is he going to do a little bit more of that in this game compared to the last one? That's something that I've got an eye on myself. And then number 4, it's going to sound pretty simple and obvious too, but got to limit the turnovers. If they don't turn the ball over 2 times, I think they're going to win. I'll give Georgia 1 turnover. You're not going to turn over multiple times and beat this Alabama team the way they're playing defensively and the way they're playing it on offense. If you turn the ball over at midfield or on your own side of the field, you're just asking to give up points. And then the defense is going to give up 40-plus points again if they turn it over. Stetson Bennett, 4 interceptions in the last 2 games against Alabama. Of course, some of those coming in the second half. That just cannot happen. If he takes care of the football, Georgia is really, really hard to beat because then they can play field position if they don't go down and get points, which is something they do quite often, though. But if you play a field position game with Georgia, that's not the way to beat them. The only way you beat Georgia is if you turn the football over and put your defense or their defense in terrible positions on the field and get them tired, and that's when points can be had. So the way to beat Georgia is exactly how Alabama did it last time. I think Georgia's obviously going to come out with a different game plan. They got torched in zone and in man coverage because they didn't get to Bryce Young. So there's a lot they have to do. 37 days between the SEC title game and the national championship. That's not a lot of time to completely change the game plan, but something has to happen. But at the end of the day, Stetson Bennett is the guy because they think gives them the best chance to win. And we've heard it from Todd Monken. We've heard it from Kirby Smart multiple times, and they love his mobility, but he doesn't turn the football over against other teams. But he's prone to throwing interceptions against Alabama. The only way they beat the Tide is if he controls the football and is safe with it. But he's still going to have to take the shots downfield. When he scored and played well against Alabama in the title game, there were, quick throws, getting the ball out of his hands quickly to guys like Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey. He's still going to have to do that again. I do think with their run game, if they can establish the run early, he can still nickel and dime teams, but he's still going to have to chug it deep. He's been accurate with the deep ball for most of the season, really. Can he do it against Alabama? We saw it to the long pass against James Cook against the Tide in Tuscaloosa last year. He's going to have to step up and make some big throws down the field. I don't think he's going to do it often, but they are going to take a few shots. They have to. It's part of the offense. We'll see if he is as consistent in that, especially if he was like that against Michigan. That did not make any sense. It came out of my mouth wrong there, but at the end of the day, take care of the football, get to 150 yards rushing. Big day for Brock Bowers. Get him the football, do it early, get him in the end zone, and find a way to get to Bryce Young at least twice, get him on the ground, and shake him up a little bit, something they did not do, of course, in the title game. If they can do those 4 things, which is definitely manageable, I could see all 4 happening, I do think Georgia will win the national championship on Monday night. Guys, thanks for watching this video. As always, stay tuned to the next video coming up right now, and now we'll see you over on the website.